Oh my God, I think we're live. What's going on, everybody? Got a great show for you tonight. Let's see what we got here. Let me get the participant screen up here. I'm really looking forward to talking to Joe here. We're going to introduce him in a minute, but I want to make sure I say hello to everybody out here in chat. I see Keith over at Northwest Pennsylvania Fishing. 922 Crappie Barbecue. What's up, my friend? And that's Catfish. How you doing, Miss Annette? There's channel crew member, Avid Fisherman. Thanks for your support, Avid. Chad Nolte. Still think that's one of the best names in fishing. There's Chucky. How you doing, my friend? Crappie Day Fish On. What's up? He's a crew member. There's my buddy Creole Catfishing. How you doing, Jeremy? El Catfish Grande. There's another great fishing name. There's my buddy Jeremy Corvin from Fin Seeker TV. What's up, Jeremy? He was out fishing yesterday. He got a couple of real nice slabs with his son, Braden. That was cool to watch. I caught some of that live. There's JG Hill Studios. Hopefully JG got that bait towel. I made sure that got sent out to him. There's Joe Ziegler. What's going on, Joe? How you doing, bud? The great Maurice Kaysen supporting all the shows. What's up, Maurice? There's Fishizzle. He just came in. Hey, Fishizzle, my live scope's just about installed, bud. Fishing by Faith Outdoors. Fishing with Jeff Beal. How you doing, Jeff? Donald Knight Sr. How you doing, bud? Let's see, Joe, Maurice, Mike Sampson. What's up, Sampy? For those of you in chat who don't know, Sampy was my very first interview. I did him on Avid's channel, getting ready to start it up on mine. So me and Sampy got a lot of history between each other. He's a great guy in the state of Tennessee as well. P&B Catfishing, a.k.a. Paul Boyd. He's a crew member. Thanks for your support, Paul. I appreciate you. There's Miss Jody. Jody's responsible for me having Joe on tonight. She reminded me that I should ask him to come on, and I've been meaning to do so, and finally got around to doing it. There's Troy over at Real and Virtual Outdoors. What's up, Troy? Sean T. Outdoors crew member. What's going on, Sean? Sean's from the great state of Louisiana. Take down catfishing in the house. How you doing, Kenneth? The Weekend Angler. What's up, Josh? There's the great Uptown Chrissy Brown crew member. Thanks for your support. 922. I think I got you. Yeah, I did. Annette, I want to make sure I don't miss anybody here. Let's see. Donald Knight Sr. In case I missed you, bud, I can say hello twice. Fishing with Squirrel. What's up, Dawson? I got to talk to Dawson about some pretty high-end fish finder stuff on Panfish Nation's show last Thursday. Go check that out if you have any interest in fish finders, which a lot of people with boats do. There's Lance McCougai. Hope Audra's doing well. Look at this. Fishing Freedom. What's going on, Richard? Thanks for the $10 super chat. Good evening, bud. How you doing? They keep coming in here. Realistic Fishing.
There he is.
There he is. What's going on? Keep it realistic. You know, I've been meaning to do one of them breaks for his videos, you know, where I introduce keep it realistic.
Oh, yeah. You need to do that.
Next big flathead I get, maybe I'll do that. Hopefully I didn't jinx myself saying that. Welcome to the Catfish and Crappie podcast. My name is Mark. Before we start today's show, I have to do like I do every week, and that is thank my sponsors. Without them, it'd be a lot harder for me to get out on the water, a lot harder for me to sponsor the show, pay for all the stuff, camera gear, mics, subscriptions, all that good stuff. So let's thank FishBrain. FishBrain's great. If you don't have the app, get it. It's like social media for fishing, only they'll give you GPS waypoints and stuff if people decide to share them. Pretty cool stuff. I got to do some work for them in the fall. Hopefully I'll do some more work for them this spring, but I'm really looking forward to working with them. That was a really cool project I got to do. Also, I want to give a super big shout out to Amped Outdoors. They're helping sponsor my power needs in my boat for the new setup that I got. Without them, I'd probably be in the dark. So I want to say thank you to Amped Outdoors. Thanks, man, if you're listening. Uncle Lou's Tackle, as always, he sponsors all our channels in his own special way. It's always good to have Uncle Lou on your side. If you don't have an Uncle Lou rod, go check him out on Facebook. Links are in the description for all of these great companies. Also Colton from Multibar. I want to thank him too for supporting. I got a Garmin mount coming for the front of my boat from Colton. He's a good dude. I appreciate him immensely. Also, Port Barrington Marina. Without JT and Jimmy, it would be a lot harder for me to get on the water, especially when, you know, ramp fees out here are like between $15 and $20 a piece, Joe.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
That's what everybody says. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have that sponsorship from that marina. It helps me
Yeah, I
out.
could see that.
So everybody, if you don't know, this is Joe Jellison, also known as Chatt Fishing. How you doing, Joe?
Good. I appreciate you having me on here, Mark. It's an
Hey,
honor.
I'm grateful to have you on here. I'm honored, especially. Hey, before we get started with like my usual questions, I always meant to ask you, how did you get the name Chat Cats?
Uh, let's see. I think it was just randomly thinking of something. I mean, Chad is short for Chattanooga, so like the Chattanooga Choo Choo type thing. It's
Uh
just
huh.
and then Cats is just short for catfish, and
Catfish. You know what? I should have put one, two. I should have put one and one together, and I never
so
thought about that.
just kind of like a catchphrase, just kind of catchy, just like fishing. So
You fish in that area too, so that makes all the sense in the
yeah,
world. And I knew
yeah,
that.
right.
So that was
So.
my next question. I guess we answered that one already. So tell me a little bit about how you got started fishing in life.
Oh, grandfather. That's my mom's side of the family. I grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio, but they lived in Indiana, so the Hoosier state. And my dad's side of the family was all sports. So, but my mom's side of the family is all about fishing and hunting. So I kind of got both worlds of that. And my grandfather just took us all out, and it was the old school fishing of just using a worm, a night crawler, and a bobber, and
Mm-hmm.
just going to your local lake, and you cast it out. You're having the Zepco 33 open face reel, and just casting it out there, and I think we would sometimes use bread as bait if we were going for catfish or carp or whatever. And
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's
um,
pretty much same here. My grandfather was my mentor, and he was on my mother's side. My father's side was more sports than anything. But I'm grateful, and my
right.
mom was big into the whole preparing fish and stuff, and it was worms and bread balls and stuff like that, and bugs,
Yep.
and it was a lot of subsistence fishing for them. So I was grateful to have that upbringing. So it sounds to me like it did pretty good
Yeah.
for you too.
Yeah, I mean, rest in peace for my grandfather. He passed away when I was, I think, like 15 years old before I was even really into the whole catfishing. But I know he'd be proud today just with everything that I've done. But yeah, that's where it first started was with him.
My grandfather was a mean old SOB. I'm not going to say what that means. I think people know what it is,
Oh,
except to
yeah.
me. He used to love me, and that's because I would always go fishing with him. So yeah, it's got some cool memories. I mean, it is what it is. Jody says he has a pretty good netter with him sometimes. What you mean by that?
Oh, so James, cool cats fishing. Usually when we go fishing together, James is my net guy. So kind of a inside joke, I guess, there with that. But and then I see that comment right there.
I
60
saw.
pound.
It was a video, wasn't it? I think I remember that video a while back.
Yeah, Alex and I usually fish together once a year, and I think it was 2 years ago. We were fishing the Boyle below Chickamauga Dam, fishing a turbine hole, and stuck a 60 pounder right from the Boyle down there. That was a hell of a fight. Definitely one of the most memorable um, fishing things I've ever got to witness, because it was just balls to the wall, just staying down, and you're like, good gosh, are we going to get this thing up? And Alex was tired. I was mentally exhausted, and it was just one of those just true fish of a lifetime type thing.
When you get into a fish like that, it's pretty much a team effort on a boat. I don't care what anybody.
Yeah. There's it's just everything has to go right, and you just got to be prepared, and just just making sure you're being patient at the same time. There's a lot of emotions going on,
A
and
lot of fingers crossed in your head. You're
yeah, and it's just fishing below the dam, especially with those dams that we have, it can get it can get crazy pretty quick when you're around the turbines, and it's just there's a a lot of stuff to consider, and you just gotta move your boat the right way, and it can get hectic pretty quick. So it's but yeah, like I mean, definitely don't want to be doing it by yourself when you're down there.
I fish a lot by myself. I actually that's a long story. It'd be nice to have a net person, but my wife won't go fishing with me, so that's a sore subject here. But yeah, I could definitely like that. I got a couple of fishing buddies that go with me, and I'm always grateful when they're able to net the fish for me. But a lot of times when I have guests in my boat, I usually let them catch all the fish. It just
Right,
turns
right,
out that
right.
way lately. So
Sure, sure.
that might have to change because I know someone's going to get that bigger flathead than mine, and I don't want that to happen too
What's
easily.
your biggest in the Illinois, Mark? Haven't
And
you haven't you caught a 40 or something
no,
out there?
I got a 58 pounder.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Okay, that's a
A
big one.
pretty big one. It's not a normal fish. It's something I just tripped across. I don't claim to be anything but passionate about chasing them. We don't have any blues here, so that's where I direct all my effort. I got what's called flathead fever in the summer, man. I love fishing for all sorts of fish, but our season's like middle of April until like sometimes you might be able to pick one up in October, and for some reason I get these blinders on and everything else kind of falls to the
Hey,
wayside.
your PB's bigger than mine. Mine's only like 54.
I still need a 40-pound class fish. I got tons of 30s, even more 20s, but it's get that 40-pound one. I just can't find. 40-pound is a big flathead for my neck of the woods. The Fox River is a very small river. It's probably smaller than what you guys call most of your creeks. So, but it
Gotcha.
runs through the heart. It runs through the heart of the city. It's a pretty urban environment. Not many bank fishing spots because it's all house to house to house to house around it. So, and the average depth's between 4 and 5 feet, so it's a shallow river.
Wow. So you got to probably be fishing some rocks and down trees and
I, Depends when you're fishing. There isn't that people clean up the down trees for some silly reason. Also, it's such a small river and such a highly populated area that there's people with money and they have big boats. So it's like a desert under the water.
oh
It's pretty
wow.
flat. There's a channel in the middle. So it takes some swings. There's a couple of tight bends. So it's pretty desolate. So if you can find a rock that PB of mine's on like the biggest rock pile I know of. It's on an outside bend, and it was
Mhm.
on the night I didn't even plan on fishing. I was bored. My insomnia kicked in. I'm like, you know what? I got bait. I'm going fishing, and I got lucky. I tripped over that fish, and I'm grateful for it. So, but last year I was chasing that 40 all year, and I came close. I got a couple of 38s. Couldn't get into that 40-pound class. And
Gotcha.
we'll see. They're fun chasing them, man. I love
Oh
catching any
yeah.
of them.
Oh yeah.
You I like channel cats too. I was out crappie fishing the other day and I hooked, on a crappie rod with a little jig with a number two hook, hooked in like a 5-pound channel cat. That was kind of fun to get to start to 2023 out. So I can't complain. Plus, I'm pretty close to Mendota, and Mendota's world-class channel cats. I mean, last time I was up there, I got a decent one, like a 23 and a half pound, which is a big channel cat for me. Still
Channel
looking.
cats pound for pound fight the hardest, I
They,
think. I
they
mean,
do, and in May they're and I'm sure these guys are all tired of hearing about this, even here and in live and on a podcast. But we fish for them in May, right? During their spawn, you can get them to bite pretty easily during spawn, and they're in 3 feet of water and they're doing tail stands and stuff. They're a blast to catch.
that's awesome.
You'll hear a splash, and all of a sudden you got drag being pulled off your abu in the back of the boat, and it's a good time. We all have a good time, and we're there with a bunch of friends and stuff. So if you ever want to come up and get some trophy class channel catch, you let me know. I'll give you
Absolutely.
directions.
That sounds fun.
I'll give you directions. You're a teacher, aren't you?
Yeah, I teach sixth grade.
Sixth grade. That's like
Social
that's one of the
studies.
good grades.
Yeah, it's something. Middle school is fun, but it can be exhausting and taxing at the same time. It's just the age of the kids. But yeah, I've been an educator for this is my 12th year. I've taught high school and now I'm doing middle school. So I also coach wrestling.
Yep, that I see on your Facebook. We are friends on Facebook, so I see that. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Wrestling's a cool sport. So a lot of guys I know that fish also wrestle. So
Yeah, I think Spencer River Certified is a former high school and collegiate wrestler from Iowa. So
yeah, yes, he is. I didn't know if he was a coach or not, but I know he was a teacher, and he just recently gave that up. I believe that.
yeah, so he's full time fishing, and but yeah, there's a few of us out there that have wrestled and are pretty involved in the fishing community. But I stay pretty busy. Fishing's more of a professional hobby for me. I've never really considered it a job. I mean,
You are a guide,
fishing
right?
I am a guide. I have my captain's license where I can chart on the Tennessee River. I'm part time though. Like during the school year, I'll do a trip or two on the weekend, but then during the
Mhm.
summer, I'm off from teaching. I usually go a little bit more full time in the summer. But that's when the spawn's going on, so it's kind of like I've become more of a multi-species type fishing guide.
Yeah, you gotta, make hay when the sun's shining, like they say, right? You
Yeah,
gotta
I
do
mean, I
something.
enjoy doing the live bait bass fishing. I do some crappie trips. I mean, I'm doing a couple of those here in a week or so, and
Uh,
um, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to have.
you do some carp fishing too. I remember you were doing some dock
Yeah,
fishing for
I
carp.
actually, yeah, I was TikTok live and I did a carp session. I've started really picking that up over the past couple years. My brother Jake, he's really the carp guru. He lives in Philly, and he kind of got me into that whole realm. I mean, it's like a whole nother realm of fishing when
Mhm.
you're actually targeting carp because you got to really, prepare an area. You got to prepare the bait. It's a very artistic way almost of fishing. So
Yeah, my grandfather was a carp fisherman, but, until, like, when I first well, I watch you can't obviously Luke over at Catfish and Carp. I watched him a lot when he was doing his fishing channel full bore. I do need to say thank you to Betty Jean. How you doing, Betty? For being a member for 22 months. I don't want to miss that one. Those are important. I also want to thank Stephanie for the $5 super chat. God's truck. Thank you very much. Very much. I appreciate you. But yeah, that was like the first introduction to what boilies were. No clue. No clue. My
mhm.
grandfather being a carp fisherman, it was eagle claw number two snelled hooks with corn, and he would kill it. But then it's different here in the States. They're not as sought after.
Yeah, and there's just so many different ways to like catch them too. So many different methods. I use the hair rigs.
Hmm.
I use pop up boilies. But yeah, you can go old school, just like you can with catfishing, and just use corn, and you can catch carp that way too. But I know mine's more the European method, I guess, from what my brother
Hmm.
tells me, which is using method feeders. You make a pack bait, you put it on a method feeder, and then you cast it out, and then the bait or the pack bait really breaks away from the method feeder, essentially creating its own chum as it's in the water. So it's just a very, unique way of carp fishing that's not really known here, like you said, to the states.
I
So
uh I do watch Alex and Carl as well, or and now
yeah,
it's Alex
they're
Fishing
good.
Now. They're
They're
good.
good.
They have a really they make really beautiful videos. They
Yeah,
make
and they're very artistic with it. And that's the thing about like, carp fishing is that it's not even though we consider them trash fish, it's weird because it's kind of like, but you go over in Europe, they're like considered like the highly prized fish over there. I mean,
Well,
and I,
especially in England, and I don't know if a lot of people know and this, but you have to have land permission from the people that not just own the land, but royalty and stuff, because they pay people to like tend to their section of a river.
oh
They actually
yeah,
like
yeah,
groundskeepers, but they're river keepers.
it's kind of like territorial and everything, and
Yeah, which is why
so
their pay lakes are a lot different than ours, and those fish always go back. They're not robbing them out of they raise them for that thing
Hmm.
for that purpose alone. Hey, Crappie Day Fish on 16-month member. Thank you very much. I'm trying to keep up with this. Chrissy, 21 member supporter. Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, it's totally different animal over there. Um, I have a lot of family in Eastern Europe, and my uncle, he's like 96 years old now, Joe.
Oh
But
wow.
he
Oof.
was head of the president of the Eastern European Hunting Coalition, and his responsibility was stocking the rivers and stuff there. And he was pivotal in stocking Zander and the Wells catfish in the rivers over there in Poland. I was going to go and fish for them, and then COVID hit, so I wasn't able to get out that way. So he's getting a little old to be out there doing that stuff. But if I get a chance to do it, I will. But it's a totally different animal out there in Europe. Everything from needing permission, whether it's from the local magistrate or the government to
Right,
landowners and
right.
stuff, there isn't much public land available. So they got to make do with what they do. So they hold them fish, in high regards just because they're so hard for them to even attempt to go after.
Sure. Yeah, the Wells catfish, that's a fish I'd like to catch one day. It's a bucket list for me.
Well, wasn't Spencer saying that he liked the red tail better than the Wells, and now that
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
experienced them both?
I think so. I think the red tail you got to go to like South America, I thought, for them or something.
Guyana, I believe, right?
Yeah, something like
Guyana.
that. And but yeah, that would be something to catch. So,
That's like number one on Lyle's bucket list. So hopefully he'll get to do that. But I hear they're starting to get him down in Florida. If you're into
really.
that kind of, yeah, they had high
Yeah.
fence fishing down there. And it's not like they're stealing them out of the Ohio or the Mississippi River. So I guess I can deal with that. But
Right.
what don't they have in Florida? Holy smokes.
I know. It's like, well, you don't have the golden dorado. That's another fish I'd like to catch. I think you got to catch them like in Peru or Argentina. That's probably my number one uh, bucket list fish I'd like to catch in freshwater is the golden dorado.
Where was the meat eater? What's his name with meat eater did one. He went to South America. He was down there for 3 days, and he actually got on one of those Dorados.
Dude, they're like a piranha and like I don't know. They're in my opinion, from what I've seen and heard, they're consider. I think they're one of the hardest fighting freshwater fish out there. Super thick, super strong, and
They you know what they look like to me? They look like green bowfin on crack. They're huge. Isn't that what they look like? They kind of got that
yeah,
head
they got
shape.
a golden type color. I mean, they're very beautiful looking. I've never seen one in real life. I've seen a few videos. There's a couple YouTubers out there that have caught one. One of them is Thai Pig Patrol. He's been down there and have caught it. And I mean, but
He's been everywhere, man. That guy lives a life.
yeah, and he was like fishing like one of the dams down there, and that's when I was like, man. I mean, he was like slaying them. It was like every other cast he was pulling them in. I'm thinking, geez, man, like.
He makes it look easy. When I think you get to that level, I think opportunities appear a little easier than they do for somebody like me. And that's not a bad thing. More power to him. Everything from I know I remember seeing him on Lake Havasu getting those plate size bluegills out of a
Oh, I know, and then the
marina.
crappie he was catching too. You're like, holy crap, man! Like,
Yeah, I'm a fanboy. Can you tell? I've been watching YouTube fishing for a long time.
I remember when he first started out, where he was like nobody, and now it's like, geez.
Well, it was him and Josh started out together, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct. Yeah, just part of it was just called Pig Patrol TV or
Mhm.
something, and they're buddies, and then they ended up splitting and having their own YouTube channels, and
Yeah, I think Ty had to go to Texas to work. I think he was in the oil business for a while. I know now he's a full-time YouTuber, but when he moved to Texas away from Josh, that was the reason. So they had no hard feelings from what I understand. And
no, I don't. I think they're still friends, and
yeah, I believe so. They fish from
so.
time to time too. That's always cool to see them horsing around
Oh
together.
yeah, absolutely.
And now I think I just saw that Ty introduced some new crappie baits through 6 Cents that he was pushing the other day. They look kind of
Oh, okay,
interesting too.
okay.
So yeah, things are working out good for him. YouTube's a pretty rough place to make a living, and I admire the guys that can do it.
Yeah, because it's. I mean, it's like once you're in the algorithm and once you're like in it, there's like no going back. You have to really stay with it. And for me, I mean, I there was a point in my life where I was like, I could actually do this, but having a family, I'm married, I have 3 kids, I have health insurance with my job,
Uh,
retirement. I was like, long term, teaching's better for
yeah,
me and my family. And I mean, YouTube, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with YouTube down the road. There's just no financial security in it. And, me being a husband, a father, I got to think about what's best for, my family. And I just felt like staying in the teaching business was what was best for me. And I mean, I can retire when I'm 53.
good for you.
So,
I'm
I mean,
53
it's
now. I
just,
can't retire.
I mean, I can retire when I'm 53, and and that's why being the fishing guide, is a really good supplement type thing with my teaching. I feel like it just complements each other so well. When I'm not in the classroom, I can guide and charter people out on the river, and when I retire, then I can be a full-time fishing guide if I want.
Hey, there's my buddy Tim Lena says, yeah, the tube can go away tomorrow. He's absolutely right. There's no guaranteed tomorrow on YouTube.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
that's just why I mean, it's great to get paid, and I mean, I was making a lot of money with YouTube, but I was
Mhm.
I was putting it all in savings and everything. And and then YouTube changed. Like they got sued by the FTC, and that's when like you had to make all your videos like not made for kids, and YouTube's algorithm just changed everything literally. And then once I reached 100,000 subscribers, I was kind of like, I don't know. Everything's changing, and YouTube's very liberal now too. Their laws are very kind of the way they just run stuff. It's just I don't know. The platform's just
I have
changing.
a, here we're going to get into some technical stuff here. I have a problem when they're pushing like major um, uh, media outlets when
Oh yeah.
they don't have to meet an algorithm. They don't.
Uh huh.
They go straight to the top of the list whenever you look up anything that they have anything to do with it. They pretty much have clobbered the young creators or the
Yeah,
new
I know. I
creators out there.
agree. I hear you on that. It's so it's. I
It takes
mean,
Herculean efforts to succeed, at least in our niche, which is
mhm.
fishing. It's not impossible. I don't think YouTube's actually going to go away, but it's not going to get any easier to be successful and turn it into a super profitable business.
Right, I agree. I think YouTube will stay. I just think it's going to be one of those things where content creators are going to have to adapt and
Hmm.
kind of just go with the flow with it. And I don't know. For me, I'm just like, like, yeah, it is what it is.
One of my YouTube mentors, he knows who he is, um, told me that you got to love making YouTube as much as you love fishing, or else it's not going to work, or even more than you like fishing.
I don't let YouTube dictate what I do on YouTube. I'm gonna
Yeah.
do what I want, type thing. Here's the thing: like when I first did YouTube, I really wasn't in it for the money. It was really just to kind of make a collection of memories of what I was doing. Like my very first video was my dad catching a fish, 15-pounder. I was fishing in Alabama on a guide trip, actually, fishing with Captain Mike Mitchell, and I was filming my dad. Wasn't even me. You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? And I started just putting videos like that up. I think my next video after that was like a family trip to Canada where we were catching walleye and smallmouth bass and we were eating them. And it's just like, and then, I had some connections with a guy named Leo Shang, Extreme Philly
I
Fishing.
remember Leo.
Right?
Is he still out? Is he still making videos?
Yeah, he is.
Is he-
He's really gone more into the Patreon route though. So like
Okay.
he's still doing YouTube stuff, but he has so many members and Patreon and patrons that he really, I feel like, more he's more geared towards that,
Okay.
if that
Is
makes
he
sense.
you know what? Come to think of it, when I started my YouTube channel, I changed from my regular username to this one. That and I never picked him up again. He was microfishing last time I remember, right? Is he still doing
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Leo is like the Pokemon of fishing. Like he's really into the getting all the fish he can catch, different species. He calls it the Pokédex. Where he tries to get as many new species as possible. But I met him in Philly because my brother Jake lives in Philly,
Okay.
and then he's actually really good friends with One Rod One Reel Fishing.
Mhm.
So in 2015, Leah was like, "Hey Joe, we'd like to make a trip to Chattanooga. I can get one rod and one reel to come." And I was like, "Oh, sweet." I think at this point I was only at like maybe 500 subscribers on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Wow, this is an opportunity for me to really, get exposure." And then I put them both on their personal best, Catfish, and then my channel just started growing, and we were doing a big collaboration. I was making videos, they were making videos, and then I think by the end of that trip, I had gained a few thousand, and I just started putting out videos twice a week. I started having a consistent schedule, uploading every Sunday and Thursday at 7:30, and I just made it my professional hobby. And then, you know, YouTube started changing, I guess, around, I would say probably around 2018 is when YouTube really kind of started to change their algorithm. Oh, you can't cut fish in your videos anymore. You're going to get demonetized. And oh, that's animal cruelty. This, you're just like, whatever.
Yeah, things have definitely changed. And
It's just like, uh, I don't know. I mean, it hurt a lot of the hunting and outdoor channels for sure. Like, I
there
mean, my channel got hit. Um, and at that point, I was like, you know what? I mean, I'll still do YouTube, but I'm not gonna put all my heart and soul into it. And that's when I was also thinking about, hey, I should become a fishing guide. Like, this is the perfect thing for me to do when I'm not in the classroom, and because, YouTube does carry some weight on you. I mean, you gotta, I
well,
mean,
it's advertising. It's I know a lot of people that made money in the tackle business and in the guide business just by having a YouTube or a social media presence. Definitely. And in this day and age, if you want to get those clients, you either got to pay for advertisement or entice them in other ways, you know.
right.
That-
And the thing for me with the guiding, like me being a classroom teacher, I get a lot of kids who are like, "Hey,
Mhm.
Mr. Jellison, I really want to go with you." Me and my dad. I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. Just, let's book a trip." But I mean, like I said, I'm not completely removed from YouTube. I mean, I'm still there. I'm just more like a veteran, I guess, and I'm just not in it as much as I used to, I guess. I mean, I
I'm
still
a
do the same
veteran
thing.
viewer. I'm a veteran fanboy. All yeah, I just seen that Justin from Kayak
Yeah,
Catfish
I
is in.
saw that. My boy's in there. It's awesome.
I
How's it going,
I've been
Justin?
watching him for a long time. I'm a mod in in his lives too. Justin, I need to get you on this show one of these days. Hopefully, I can talk him into it too. That'd be cool to do. I see
Oh yeah.
Catfish Bill in here too. There's another name that's coming up. So let's see what else we got on here. Creo Catfish with the super chat. Thank you very much. He's got the bacon fund. You know, I got a thing for bacon, so people like to remind me of it and pay for my bacon fund all the time. I appreciate him for doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, YouTube's different. You know, there's a lot of big name. I mean, even like go back to like the Guggen squad, John B, One Rod, One Reel. They just started out putting videos of them fishing in these local ponds where they live and stuff. And it just grew into where they're at now. And granted, as cat fishermen are big on the bass scene, at least a lot of them aren't. You know, there's always exceptions to that. I'll never turn a 6 pound bass away when I'm bait fishing. I'm always happy to see it, you know,
Right. And
or a
that's how
small.
you and that's how YouTube used to be. It was really cool to actually do collaborations with other people who weren't doing the same thing you were.
Mhm.
Like One Rod, One Reel, Bass, me, Catfish. It was kind of like having that kind of introducing that to him and him introducing bass to me. It was kind of like those collaborations. I don't really see that stuff anymore. It's just, it's the live stuff now, and everyone wants to go live, and you don't see much of the. Uh, there's a few of them out there, but you don't see much of the quality and just good content as much anymore as it used to be. I feel like.
It
Um,
it takes a lot of effort. It
oh
really
yeah,
does. I mean, I've a review video of mine will take me a while to edit. I've got hours and hours and hours of video footage that I use. I'm fortunate enough that some companies buy that footage from me and stuff, so I can't use it in my videos. So there's a lot of that going on behind the scenes too. But putting together a video with a beginning, middle, and end, like we were talking about before, is not an easy task. You got to not only just be creative, you got to have a good idea. You got to appeal to the masses these days, because if you don't get that retention, you don't get that click through. And
sure.
when you're doing it by yourself, it's even worse. I know of another creator where all he does is travel around and does camping videos and films them all on his iPhone and drop boxes them, and his editor takes care of him, and his agent does this, and he's doing 250,000 views a month. It's a lot easier to be creative when you don't have to worry about the rest of the stuff. And
Hmm.
you're not exhausted like we were talking about a little while ago. So
No, I understand. I understand. Making the videos, it is a lot of work. That's what a lot of people didn't understand with the YouTube stuff. It's like, yeah, you guys got to fish, then you got to go home and dissect all the content and all the footage and put it all together.
hours and hours and hours of it.
Oh yeah,
You get I'm slowly getting better at time, but I'm by no means a cinematographer. So hopefully this year I'm going to up my game up a little bit. I'm going to work more on videos and less on lives. I like watching lives and stuff, but I think with the number of lives out there, and the people that are watching them at this point, it's starting to be kind of slim pickings as far as viewership goes too, though. But
I agree.
what one thing they did change though, if you got a big live going, I think they're serving ads like mid-roll now during lives and stuff, which is going to help creators as well. And no, people, it's not all about the funds and stuff, but you want to be successful in everything you do. When you go to work and you get that review, you want to get that raise or that promotion or whatever. So,
Sure, absolutely.
and it is America, capitalism. So
Oh
I got
yeah.
no problem with it.
Hmm.
And back to the burnout thing, but one rod, one reel, he had a bad case of that burnout there for a while, didn't he? He was on the verge of like some pretty major stuff. Not that he's small potatoes did he now, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think every YouTuber goes through a burnout phase, and um, I think it's always good to step back and get your priorities straight. And Mike, I was actually supposed to have him come back up. I think it was supposed to be last year, but something happened, and but yeah, I do plan to have him come back up at some point. So because I do touch base with him every now and then. And then Leo, Extreme Philly Fishing, love to get him back up here or back down here, and so it'd be great to have those guys back.
I'm
So
glad you reminded me of Leo. I'm gonna have to resub to his channel. I can't believe that I missed him when I made the
he'd be a
swap.
good one to have on your podcast, honestly. I think
Well,
because he does a lot of Leo does a lot of Q&A on
uh,
his YouTube channel. He's usually live like every
yeah,
week.
he was doing lives like back before a lot of people were doing lives, and it was just him sitting in his room at home, whether it was his bedroom or his office or whatever,
Yeah, something like that.
hanging with the subs, he used to call it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chilling with the subs. That's
Chilling
what it
with the
was.
subs. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
To see, I told you I was a fanboy. I've been watching
Oh
this stuff
yeah,
for a
yeah. I
long
mean,
time.
Leo's a great guy. I mean, he's. I think he would come on your show. I mean, of course, I haven't reached out to him in like over a year and a half or something. It's been a long time. So
Cool. That would be cool to have. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
We got
yeah.
to talk to him. I've been meaning to reach out to a couple of the names that we had mentioned today too, and we'll see what happens going forward. I got some some
Sure,
ideas to
sure, sure.
changes and stuff. So, like I said, I'm like we were talking about before. I'm just happy to get out here and talk fishing and YouTube and bacon and all sorts of stuff with some people that I've been watching for a long time, like yourself, man. It's really it's surreal to talk to people like you or have Justin Johnson know who I am. That's pretty weird. Or talk to Lyle Stokes on a regular basis. So I'm blessed in that way. So I'm real grateful to have all you guys even willing to come on here. It's always a good thing. There we go. I'm getting all mushy here. Sorry, folks. This is the soft side of market because usually they say I'm not afraid to be the bad guy,
No,
but
I'm happy to be on here. I'm just your average Joe, you know. So
so the greetings coming up. We talked about that a little bit. You thinking about making it down there for at least a day?
the gathering, yeah,
The gathering.
I'll be there for a couple hours. I got a couple guide trips that weekend, so but I
Mhm.
think it's a 3-day event, if I'm not mistaken. Trophy Seekers Outdoors, Daryl is the one putting it on, and I think he has some big sponsors showing up. Monster Rod Holders, which I don't know if you knew, but Steve Douglas was
I,
having
I
surgery
I
this
heard that and I
morning.
saw it all over Facebook. Hopefully he's made it through all of
Yeah, I
that.
think it was a triple bypass surgery too. So
I
um,
don't
there's
wish that on
great.
anybody.
I know it's the great a lot of stuff going on, but I know they're sponsoring the gathering, and I think they're doing like a tournament as well. I think there's like Big Fish gets like five
Yeah,
hundred
there's like a
dollars.
$500 pot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
kept bragging
So
to everybody I was going to drive all the way down from Illinois and take that money from y'all.
hey, you never know.
Hey, it's like I said, I've tripped over more than one big fish in my life.
Tennessee
You never
River
know
has
what's
a
going to
lot
happen.
of big fish. I mean, a lot of people come down here and usually get their PBs. So I mean, but yeah, that's going to be. I think it's like April 14th, 15th, and 16th or something. So it's coming up.
I got people making all sorts of comments, making fun of me in chat. See, these are my friends out here. Yeah, Jody's reminded there's a $500 biggest fish prize I'm winning.
Did she say I'm whining or winning? No, I'm kidding. I'm
She's
just kidding.
she no, she whines a
I'm just
lot. You
kidding.
ain't wrong about that.
I'm just kidding, Jody. I'm just
You
kidding.
ain't wrong about that.
No, she caught her PB. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I thought she caught her PB last year at the gathering. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was like a 58 pounder or something.
You know why she caught that PB? Because she was wearing one of my hats.
There you go.
That's what got her that PB. So she needs to thank me personally for that. She didn't even say thank you at CatCon. Look at this. Now she's laughing at me. Yeah, it's 51 pounds woke her up. Jody says fishing so easy she does it in her sleep.
Until it breaks the line, then it's a nightmare, not a dream.
Uh, so when's the last time you've been out fishing? You were out. I saw on your channel that you were out with Cool Cats, actually, right? You had a trip with him.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. Well, I did my first guide trip of the year on Saturday. Actually, a really good trip. We put in a 56, a 47, a 30, two in the 20s. I mean, it was a really good trip on Saturday. And then I did carp fishing yesterday on TikTok Live. Caught a few common carp. I hadn't done carp fishing this year, so that was good for me to be a part of that. And I think I caught like an 18 pounder and 2 10s. So I
I'm
try to.
trying. I'm trying to figure out how far ahead of us you guys are on the fishing season. You guys don't ever that Tennessee River don't freeze, obviously, right? But I mean,
No,
do
water
the
temp is like
flatheads go to
around.
sleep? Do the blues slow down? What happens there?
It can, yeah. I mean, water temp right now though is like 55.
It was 35 degrees when I was out 2 days ago here.
Yeah, but we've had some warm days this month. Like it's been
Yeah.
like in the 70s, you know. So we got a cold front that came in a couple days ago, and now we're under like a freeze watch or something, and so it's going to drop down. to the upper 20s. Or I know, look at me saying this. For you, it's like, oh my gosh, that's like summer for us.
I'm holding out for 40 degrees this month. I got 3 inches of snow in my backyard, Joe.
Well, at least you guys get actual seasons. I mean, we don't really get any snow down here.
You know,
So
we get seasons, but I'm like right there on the line between really good ice fishing area and iffy ice fishing area. So it's kind of, it I'm getting too old to haul 200 pounds of gear out on a sled, and it's not thick enough ice here to pay to get a snowmobile, or else I wouldn't mind it. I don't mind the cold that much. Ice fishing's fun. It's like camping on the ice and fishing at this
yeah, I
inside your
never
tent.
ice fished before. I'd like to do that one day. That seems
That's a
fun
good
to
time.
me.
I'm maybe I should have a gathering up north next winter.
You
Maybe there's an
could. You
idea.
actually really could. Like that. A lot of people would love to do that, I'm
We'll
sure.
get Luke Henges up there. Well, maybe we'll go after
I've
some of them.
fished with Luke before. I have fished with Northwoods Angling.
He's a good dude. He'll be at Mendota this. He doesn't like me telling us where we're gonna be, but Luke's a good dude. I like Luke. I talk to
Oh yeah,
him
he's
once in a while.
awesome.
I've been on that podcast he does with Chewy over at Carver. Good people. Me and him kind of tease each other. I like to think that we're still
Yeah, he's a
friends.
funny dude. He's a funny dude.
And there's another channel that I pretty much love to watch was at Northwoods Angling. That was
Yeah,
always
that's
a
what I was
good time.
saying. Like I fished with them in 2017 for sturgeon up
Oh
in
yeah,
Minnesota.
you went all the way up there, huh? You
Did
guys
a
fished this?
big YouTube collaboration with them, and I met the whole crew. Luke,
Yeah.
Peter, I think it was Jake Halls, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh-huh.
And I caught my first sturgeon ever, and I think I caught one that was like, I don't know, 50 pounds or something,
The,
60
the
maybe.
the Minnesota boys are crazy, man. They're like fishing madmen up there. They
Oh
got
yeah.
some of the best water in the country to fish for,
Well, you
even
got the St.
flatheads are.
Croix, you got the St. Croix River,
Yep.
you got the Mississippi River,
They
like
got the
that's
Red River, and then they got all those lakes for, a pike, muskie, walleye, perch. Talking to Babe Winkleman, the smallmouth fishing up there's made such a comeback. They
oh
used to,
yeah.
back in the day, they used to take smallmouth and throw them up on the ice and just leave them there.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. Back when he was a younger man, and that's all changed. I know Luke takes a pretty active part too in helping them figure out the regulations up there. He's mentioned some of his struggles, and it ain't easy, but he's a good dude. He loves what he's doing, and he's got that Wisconsin state record, I believe, for sturgeon too.
Yeah, I think he just broke it like a month ago or something.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not surprised though. He's a heck of an angler. So
Oh, look at this. See, now this is the kind of abuse I get from my friends. It says Mark co-hosted my live stream in a creek and then got too big for me.
who said that? Was that the Bullock
That's the
experience?
Bullock. That's Kelly over there giving me the business. River Rat, what's going on? How you doing, bud? Yeah, it's YouTube's definitely a weird place, and how you get to know a bunch of these people that you watch is pretty cool. It definitely is. And you know why I started this? I actually started this on a bet. They're like, I tried to get a buddy of mine that I fished with for a long time who happens to be in jail right now, but that's another story.
Oh geez.
Yeah, long story, but he's a good kid. He'll figure it out. I always wanted him to do a YouTube channel with me because we used to go down and fish all the time. We went to CatCon #2 together. We were down there. We got to meet all the people that were down there from Chris Flores, Steve Douglas, Luke was down there. He wasn't talking or had a booth or anything. He was just down there with his son running around. I saw Lyle down there for the first time. And then now, I always wanted him to do this YouTube channel with me, and he never wanted to do it. And so a dear friend of mine said, just do it yourself. I bet you won't. And here we are today. So it's kind of how it started.
No, you got a successful YouTube channel, man. I think it's great.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I just
So,
hope I can live up to the hype. I get kind of shy in real life. I went down to that cat con to show my face and met a lot of nice, great people. Hopefully they didn't think I was too much of a jerk when I was just kind of being shy. So we'll see.
I haven't been to CatCon since 2019, maybe or something. 2020. I know there was a virtual one with the COVID year.
Yep.
I was a part of that, but I was gonna try to make it up this year. But just the thing about CatCon is that it's during the worst part of, or it's during the most important time of wrestling season, which is the worst time because it's like I got to be at the state tournament.
Yeah.
So it's just, ugh,
And it's
yeah,
the same time. Well, they are thinking about having one on the East Coast too. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But that's
right,
too far for me. Kansas City's 7 hours for me. Where Louisville's only it was what Google told me it
yeah.
was 6 hours. I made it there in 5 hours and 10 minutes. I was doing pretty good time there. So
Yeah, I'm not a big Chiefs fan either. So
yeah.
I'm a Bengals fan. I'm actually from Cincinnati originally. So,
Uh,
um,
we got the Cubs and the Bears here, so I'm not one to talk. I got no.
hey, at least you're not a White Sox fan, okay? I mean, God bless.
I kind of am, but we'll talk about that later.
Uh,
Just because I know the neighborhood where the Cubs play, and I'm not a big fan of the neighborhood, or a lot of the Cubs fans that I know, not a big fan.
I've
So
been to the, is it Wrigley Field, right? I've been there. I mean, they got a pretty unique stadium. They got the ivy that grows up on the back
yeah,
wall, and you can see the apartments.
best thing I ever saw at Wrigley Field, and I've been there a bunch, was Pearl Jam. It wasn't the Cubs, so there you
Oh
go.
wow,
There's an
hey, that's a good
idea.
band right there. But
There's an idea of what I think of the Cubs, but we'll talk about that some other time. That's almost as polarizing as politics is here. You know, online. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Let's see what Jody has to say about it. I remember those days when Mark used to help me. Then he said I was never going to learn if he kept doing it for you, and it's just true. That's a good friend, always looking out for you and wanting you to get better. And I got tired of helping you. You whine a lot. I'm just kidding, Jody, kind of. So you had mentioned TikTok. You going to start doing more on TikTok?
I think so. I mean, I'll keep doing it for a little bit and just kind of see how it carries itself. And um, it's just it's a new way to interact with people, and I'm still, you know, good with reading the comments and not getting, too distracted. And so yeah, I mean, just trying something new, and
It
you get
fits a busy schedule, doesn't it?
it is, but you get a lot of people in there. A lot of people
Mhm.
come and go, and and if I'm just sitting there at the bank or whatever, I mean, I don't mind reading, going through the comments and interacting with them. So, I mean, they do ask you a lot of questions, and you just answer them, and so I think it's fine.
There's Uncle Louie says, "Go Cubbies." See, there's always one in the crowd. What's up, Uncle Louie? How you doing, bud?
That's funny.
uh, yeah, the rivalry's pretty hardcore here in the city. The White Sox are the working man's team, and I was brought up in a union family, and the Cubs are the yuppie team of the town. So that's what happens. I mean, you can't rent an apartment in Wrigleyville for less than like $5,000 a month. Some
All right, all
nice,
right, all right.
it's pretty crazy.
I haven't been to Chicago in years. Like I said, I went to a baseball game there years ago.
I stay out every chance I get. I'm about 40 miles outside. I go down there in December to perch fish. That's about it. Other than that, I stay away. I'm like on the outs. I'm on the what's called the exurbs. I can hit farmland from my backyard with a rock. So
Isn't Chicago known as the Windy City, or
yeah, it's windier than heck around here. Holy smokes,
uh,
even out here, it's crazy. And we get a
uh,
lot of snow when it does snow. South of that I-80 corridor is crazy too. Chicago's a good place to live. I know Chad gives me a lot of crap for it, and my sister Betty Jean calls it a really bad name that I'm not going to repeat in public here because YouTube doesn't like cussing anymore, apparently.
nope. It's a
But you know
lot of
what? I grew up here.
a lot of censored on YouTube now.
Yeah,
So
pretty much. Remember when you used to be able to do like video replies in the comments? God, I'm
oh yeah.
dating myself. That was the good old days.
Uh, um, but yeah, it'd be great for you to come down to the Tennessee River sometime. I mean, that should be a goal for you, I
That
think.
would be cool. I definitely have plans to go down there. I want to get down there. I want to try bumping with Bobcat. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That'd be good. He's killing it down there, definitely.
He showed me
Um,
that. I had a great time learning that technique from him.
yeah.
So.
I first got to do that with Lyle though. I told him I wanted to do that with him, so I'm going to go with him first, and then we'll start the tour though. So yeah, those are my kind of my plans for the year. You got any plans to travel anywhere or no?
Uh, nah, not really. I'm going to be going to ICAST this year. I don't know if
Oh,
you've heard
that
of
would be
that.
cool to go.
So I'm sponsored by Akuma,
Okay.
and Akuma usually sets up a booth every year down there. It's in Orlando, and it's, I mean, for those who don't know what ICAST is, it's like the world's greatest fishing expo where all these companies are there with the newest reels and hottest reels and rods on the market. And but what Akuma does, because I'm part of their team, is they get a ticket for everybody. And it's what I, because last year they had asked me to go and I couldn't go because I was guiding during that time. And so this year I made sure to block off the week of ICAST so I can actually make it down there. But Blacktip H has been down there.
Uh-huh.
So that's probably going to be like my big thing this year is to be a part of the ICAST and just
That
meet
would be
some
a cool one
people.
to
And
go. That's
oh
pretty
yeah.
much that's like the Super Bowl of fishing shows as far as I'm
Yeah,
concerned.
yeah, and it's not just catfishing, right? It's everything.
Yep.
So
Fresh
um
salt water. They got gear up there that nobody's seen yet that they're going to start selling soon. I've been kind of watching that stuff for a while too. I got access to some industry magazines and stuff through friends and that, and they're always talking that up. So yeah, that would be a cool trip if you can
and I'm
get down there. Definitely, especially on Okuma's dime. Why the heck not?
Yeah, and I'm actually next couple years. I mean, I'm going to say it, but I was actually planning a trip to either Peru or Argentina to fish for the golden dorado. Actually,
There you go.
I'm actually saving up my money for that, and so that's going to be my number one bucket list fish to catch is that. So,
Cool, and that's freshwater fish. You got any saltwater fish you want to catch?
I mean, I like to catch a tarpon or
Yeah.
feel the fight of one. I know that's something I'd like to definitely see because I mean we got Tennessee tarpon here, which are
Right.
skipjack.
I've
And I
never
said,
caught a skipjack.
you never, yeah, you know what? You just got to come on down here and
If just to catch a skipjack, I got to make it down.
hey man, it's a Tennessee tarpon. So I mean, seriously, like it. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to catch feel the fight of an actual tarpon, and I mean, the list goes on, honestly, Mark.
Yeah.
And
I want
uh,
to this day, I want one of them giant trevallies, one of them GTs. I
heck
want
yeah,
one of the
man.
full spool drag burning beasts on the end of that thing on medium tackle. I don't know if I'm throwing 12-inch plugs though all day. That could be a lot of work though.
Oh yeah.
Us cat fishermen aren't much for casting. I got a lot of musky buddies that make fun of me. You know what I tell them? I said, "Well, flathead fishing's like musky fishing, except you got to put your back into it." And that usually shuts them down.
That's exactly right. I mean, until you feel the raw power of a flathead, I mean, you got to put your back into it. Yeah, that's true. Now I've never caught a muskie either, so
I've
uh,
cut little ones. I think my biggest one was when I was a young man, young lad, like they say. I think like a 34-inch or something like that. I got pictures, Polaroids of all things here. But other than that, I get a lot of dinks, but I don't spend a lot of time chasing them. We got a big musky club out here that has like 700 people in it, and they fish just the chain of lakes, which isn't that big a lake system here, but they're all fanatics and they do pretty good, and they keep that fishery pretty well under control. They really practice CPR. They a lot of them don't even fish for them in the summer because they get really worn out really quick in the warmer water and stuff. So I might be doing some stuff with them this summer. I've been asked to come out there and maybe do some live streaming, so we'll see. We'll maybe get another sponsorship out of them and
no, that'd be
do
great, man.
do a swap for some of that stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. They got a podcast too. It's out of Muskie Tales up in Antioch, Illinois. Some good folks up there. So we'll see what we can do with them. But yeah, I like fishing for anything and everything. Just not enough time in the day. or in the year even. In the fall, I'd like to go fishing for salmon up in Kenosha. That's always a good, not go Racine, Wisconsin, and go up there. That's a blast too. That's probably as close as I'll get to those giant trevallies, because I don't know if I'll be able to make it halfway around the world. So
Now, do you fish for crappie a lot? Because I know your
I
channel's
do. I do
catfish.
fish for crappie in the fall and in the spring, basically. But like I said, I get that flathead fever all summer long. I'm gonna try and do a lot more crappie fishing this year. Now that I got that live scope and stuff, it might,
Yeah,
might
yeah.
as
I'd
well
be
put it to
curious to
use.
see how that works for you. So
Yeah, we'll see. We're gonna do some videos for both. We're gonna get some channel cats and that. And I just started doing a little more walleye fishing. I'm by no means a walleye fisherman, but I'd like to learn. So we'll see.
that's the best eating fish right there, in my
I
opinion.
don't know. I think I like crappie a little better, but I have to say walleye cheeks are pretty darn good. I ain't gonna lie. That's
Yeah,
probably like my
walleye, yellow perch, crappie, probably my top three.
Yep,
So
absolutely. We got them yellow perch here on the lakefront. They get pretty big. We get the jumbos even up here, so I try to get on them whenever I can. But they're pretty small. Up in Mendota where we're going, they got some monsters. If you get out there on the ice, we're talking like 12 inches,
oh
13
wow.
inches. Yeah, big ones. But you're catching them in 80 feet of water, so you get them up there, they're pretty much dead. They
Are you
got this
just are
cool.
you trolling for them
No,
or
no, this is on the ice, Joe.
wow, wow, okay.
This is
That's
on
cool.
the ice, and it's cold up there. It's cold down here too. All right.
Cool.
Anybody got any questions for Joe? Thanks for sharing the link out. Yeah, I want to let everybody know, if you're listening to this on the podcast, I'm going to have Joe's link in the description, definitely. I have a link on YouTube here in the description as well. If you guys aren't subbed to Joe, go and give him a sub. Look him up. What's your name on TikTok? I didn't put that in the
It's chat
description.
cats. It's chat
Chat,
cats. You get
Chat
yep,
Cats
chat
too on
cats. Yep.
TikTok. If you're into the TikToky, go over there and give him a follow. Check him out on his lives and stuff, and tell him that, hey, I saw you on Mark's podcast.
That's right.
All right, Joe. Well, I appreciate you being on here. We're right at an hour. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Thank you again for being on. I was
Thank
honored,
you
and
for having me. Thank you
it
for
was
having
cool.
me.
It was like walking down YouTube memory lane for me. I have to say, I had a good time talking.
I love doing stuff like this. It's always a blast to be on people's shows. So
It's
I
a good
enjoy
time.
it.
So make sure you guys check out Joe on YouTube, on TikTok, all social medias. He's got a lot of content out there. Go watch a lot of the stuff. If you're from the Tennessee area, just stay out of his spots, Jody.
Nah, it's all good. There's other places to learn. So
That's right. Good stuff. All right, folks. Have a good night. Again, thank you very much, Joe. I never know how to end these things, so usually I just kind of do it like this. Have a great night, everybody. God bless. Go out there and fish.
see ya.